You're such an asshole.
Dear asshole, I'd like to get your price for a video response to this one. Messily divorced back in 2008 with 3 kids, daughter age 5 and son age, we don't need to identify it, young kids. Wait, messily divorced, 3 kids. If you got divorced in 2008, how are they so young? The divorce was... Oh, you got divorced and they were that age. Okay, I think that's what you're saying. I left the U.S. rather than go to child support prison, long story, and now work and live far outside the reach of the U.S. family courts. My ex barred me from any communication with my children and for a time told them I was dead. Fast forward to last year when I found my daughter's account on a website, I decided to make first contact. Please note that the last time she saw me was 5, now she is 19. I'd sent many letters to her over the years, but was told by her she received none of them. Well, yeah, your ex probably threw them away. Initial contact was extremely difficult with her refusing to tell me any specifics about what she's doing, where she is, etc. I received textbook millennial responses from her about respecting her boundaries and how my asking how she was or referencing a few pictures I found of her on a school ski trip or like that amounted to me stalking her. On her part, she would give me very little information what she was doing, although she did ask me plenty of questions, which I answered to the best of my ability. When she graduated high school, okay, I contacted her again to tell her how proud I was of her and further offered her 1 Bitcoin as a graduation present worth about 40,000 at the moment. I also told her that I had set aside several more Bitcoin for her and her brothers and I would give them to her as inheritance when and if we ever meet in person outside the US. No. All right, you're bribing them now. Okay, let's be honest. You love yourself more than the kids. Let's just put it that way, right? This is for your own ego, grant. It's like, I want to have kids. Do you want to have kids because it's in the best interest of the kids, or do you want to have kids because you want to have kids for yourself? And that's a fine distinction. And you're trying to bribe them. That's what it is. You're trying to bribe them. Now, if you want to leave them an inheritance, say, look, I got some Bitcoin. I want to leave you an inheritance. Blah blah blah. I'd like and a separate conversation is completely unrelated. You would not have the same conversation because then it would be implied you're bribing them. You would then say, hey, do you guys ever want to come out to what's it called? And then whether you leave them the Bitcoin or not, or any form of inheritance, that should be whether or not they hang out with you or not. If you want to help out your kids, go to help out your kids. If you don't want to help your kids, don't help out your kids. For her and her brothers, and that I would give them to this inheritance when and if we ever met in person outside the U.S. The Bitcoin I sent her wasn't a fluke, by the way. I do own quite a few and seriously mined them back a while. The share I have set aside for each of my kids could easily equate to a very nice house in most markets, maybe save California. The 1 Bitcoin I sent her as a graduation present was immediately sent to an exchange, converted straight to dollars. No thank you or any answer to my questions, just a blank. Well, right. Why would she talk to you? So look, whether you did anything wrong or not is not doesn't matter here. Right? Let's say you left under completely normal circumstances. Your ex was a crazy psychopath and lied about it. And you're like, screw it. You wouldn't be able to make the money anyway. And you just left. All right. Your ex has had your children's ear this entire time. And you did leave and you did not pay child support. So they hate you. You're the bad guy. You're darn right they're going to take the money and run. Or answers to my question, just a blank. Here's my Bitcoin address, send it here. So several months go by, no contact. I ask a few questions as delicately as possible with her endless boundary requirements, no response. Then at work one fine day, I was doing an internet search looking for Twitters kids. I often do and stumble across a new article listing the obituary of my first son. Oh no, it's horrible. I didn't read that part. I just skimmed. And of course, your wife never told you. I was later to learn he shot himself, but as to the reasons why, I have no clue. I don't know. He came from a broken, effed up home? Maybe. Look, I'm no expert on divorce or family units, but it seems to me when mom and dad are divorced or never together in the first place and there's chaos and you don't have your parents around, mental health tends to be more frequent. Now, he may have had, like, other problems, like drug problems or something like that, but you leaving the family, no matter how horrifically bad your ex was, didn't help the situation. Um, for reasons why I have no clue. I immediately contacted my daughter and asked what happened and received the following response. I don't want to talk about it, but since he's gone, can I have his Bitcoin? This response floored me as I tried to convince myself it was my ex that put such a thought in her brain. Maybe or maybe not. But I mean, look again from their side, you abandoned them, and now you're offering them money. Hell yeah! Now this is why it's important. I think that's the main lesson to pull from this is look, you guys have got to make an effort to show your children that you love them. And even if the child support they were asking would have put you wouldn't have been able to pay it, would have landed you in jail, you should have sent some money anyway. You should have put up a web. This is why I always say you should have a blog dedicated to your children where you, if you want daily, but at least weekly, tell your children you miss them, you love them. You say, I have money for you. I'm not giving it to your mother. She will squander it on stuff. I want, we will set up an account for you. I will give you money. I can't afford the child support payments without going to jail or having no money to myself. I need to live. I need to eat. So that's why I went over here. But by the way, I made some money and here's some money for you. Please set up a way to, there's got to be family members that can bypass the ex and get money into your children's hands. You doesn't sound like you did any of that. You waited until they're adults. And now, oh, hey, Bitcoin, if you come hang out with me. Yeah, you kind of corroborated whatever your ex told them about you, true or not, right? I don't sense maliciousness on your side, but man, you made no attempt to like reach out to your kids. The internet existed in 2008. You didn't put a blog together. There are some men, Terrence Popp has a film on this, where the men are not allowed to have any kind of contact with their kids. They know that their ex is lying to the children, and so they will film birthdays where they're singing happy birthday to you, to their child. The child isn't there, and they leave a gift for the children in a closet or a room for them to open when they are 18 or whatever the legal age is, that they can go and make their own choice whether they want to hang out with dad. And that's about the only thing you can do. Now, I'm also of the opinion, increasingly so, not 100% there yet, but when you don't have possession of your kid, like you're not there to counter the brainwashing of a malicious parent, ex-parent, ex-spouse. That kid's going to be ruined even in the halftime that the other person has them. And a lot of guys all fight for these kids, and these kids end up not like them anyway. And even if you fight and you spend all this money, you get them halftime, and they still don't believe you anyway, or they're still corrupted nonetheless. They're going to school. They're not learning anything there that's good or going to help you out. And I've made the argument, and well, I'll tell you what my argument. I'll give you the counter argument I get. I'm saying, like, well, you spend all this money, and the kid's still coming out not liking you. Why don't you just set up, you use it as a bargaining chip? Okay, you can have the kids, but I'm not paying you alimony, or I'm not paying you child support. And at 18, I'm going to put together a YouTube video, and the kids will hopefully find it. Yeah, that'd be something to do, like get it out in public. Hey, are you divorced? Did daddy leave you? Go to daddycares.com to see if your dad has a blog dedicated to you, and then at least you can defend yourself there and establish a relationship, or make your case so that when the kid is 18 and leaves, dad did care, and look at all these toys he got me, or gifts or presents, and he did save me money for a college fund. He was going to support me. He just didn't want to give mom the money because she'd piss away on shoes or whatever it is that thought mommies in the club like to piss away the money on. Who's the gal that murdered her kids down in Florida? Maybe that doesn't narrow it down much either. Response floored me. Reaching over the still warm carcass of my son to ask money. Well, if one child is already bumping themselves off, it doesn't sound like these kids are terribly brought up in a terribly good environment, terribly well grounded. I mean, I'm not expecting. I mean, every once in a while, you get one kid that's way off their rocker, suffering mightily mentally, and then the other kid is, Captain America and has got his act together. But usually, if one child has mental problems, the other children have mental problems, and a lack of a soul apparently is one of them. I told her in a polite way as I could how disgusted I was with the request and reiterated the only way she and my lone surviving son would get anything is to meet up in person. Right, now you're bribing them. Right, dude? Do you love your children or not? That's it. Do you love your children or not? If you love your children, go ahead, set up a will so that when you pass away, your estate is liquidated and equal shares go to the children. But if you got to resort to bribing your children to hang out with it, no. No, that's forcing people to do something they don't want to do. You're not respecting their decision. It also sounds like you're looking for an easy way out. Like, oh, I'll give you money and hey, hang out with me. No, from their perspective, you abandon them. Right? It's going to be a long, hard slog. You should start off like, let me explain my case, so you might hear me out. And you better have a good reason. It better just be, well, your mother wanted $1,000 a month. I wasn't going to pay that. That would mean I had to get 2 jobs. I would have had to gone to college or something. And if you're going to mail it in like that, well, yeah, you never really loved your kids anyway. So why do you care about them now? But if it was like a no joke, like, look, you tried everything you could, but you would have been bankrupt and maybe your ex-wife had drug problems or whatever it was. Like there was legit good reasons you left for mere self-survival so that later on you could help out your children, then convey that story to them, make your case. But as with any time, the ex, male or female, has the kids and they spew hatred in the kids, the consequence, whether you like it or not, whether it's fair or not, is your kids may not want to hang out with you. Which again, I argue is that you make a blog so the kids see, oh, he started this back in 2008 when they split. This is what happened, or at least it's his side. But it doesn't sound like you did that. To this, I was told that I wasn't respecting her boundaries, immediately blocked me on the website. Yeah, that's young teenage girls. Yeah, okay. I'll probably make a half-hearted attempt to contact my youngest surviving son when he graduates, but I no longer have any illusions of some Hallmark special feature. I've missed you, daddy moments. The brainwashing ran too deep. Daddy is evil because he didn't and couldn't give mommy money, I guess. My daughter ever wants to contact me, she's got my email, but I want to get your take on whether I should continue to expend any effort on this or accept reality and live my life. I think you should try a different tactic. What you should do is explain. You got to explain your side. Explain why you're innocent or why you did this. And then maybe you'll get a receptive ear. And it's going to be a hard sell. You left. And you didn't even make an internet presence to tell your children what's going on, check in with them, and all that other stuff. Now you reach out to them. Well, you should have been emailing them quite some time ago. At least maintain contact with them. So I would make my case. You got a lot of explaining to do because you are guilty not contacting them until now. Make your kid, oh, it was horrible. Here's the numbers. I couldn't have made it, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. But in not having to pay your mother child support, which would have gone to shoes or whatever, assuming she had a drug habit, I saved it crypto. And it's now part of your college fund. So if you want to go to college, here you go. Sorry, it didn't work that way. But and man, the big one, even if they believe that, the big one's like, why the hell didn't you contact us? And where have you been for 17, 15 years? So yeah, put some effort into it, but man, that cake is baked. These kids are approaching 2 decades old. I don't know if there's much you could do to change it. Regards. P.S. I'm also a Gen X. No punctuation and paragraphs are. Hope that helped in reading it. Yeah, it did. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, man. I'm sorry. I wish you would have made an effort to reach out to him earlier because that would have at least established the precedent you did care. And that's something that all you guys out there that get divorced and for whatever reason you decide to leave the and give up on the kids because you can't afford it, or which again, I'm sympathetic to the logic behind that, not the emotion, but the logic. But you should at least have a digital record of you telling your children you love them, what happened, why, and why you split town and took off. And make it very clear that when you are old enough to hang out with me, please come and hang out. We'll talk about it. You know, I don't know if that's 16 or 18 or whatever. I want to have a relationship with you. I miss you terribly. Love you a lot. You know, show Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Dad is down here. He needs food, clothing, and shelter. Otherwise, he's homeless. You know, and if I'm not around, then I can't say I'm not going to be able to see you in jail. I'm not going to be able to see you here either. You know. Ray John, 5 Canadian bucks. Is it still the party of law and order after the FBI investigated Trump? I don't know what's going on. Did the FBI investigate Trump? The Democrat Party or the Republican Party? We know the Democrat Party. I guess not the Democrat Party because they're like, oh, let him riot. If the FBI investigated Trump, that's one guy. Don't worry, there's plenty of corrupt Republican politicians. But yeah, the Republicans are still, if that's what you're implying, yes, the Republicans still are generally the well, most cops vote Republican anyway. Don't they usually get the endorsement from the cops? They're generally for law and order, yes. They're generally against the legalization of drugs. They're for harsher punishments, so yes, they're against people burning buildings down, but that was all right, Minnesota. Great response time. Let them burn it down another night. Oh, now the National Guard should be mobilized. Shaft-driven metal, $10. For me, a 24-year-old, I decided 18 to create a relationship with my estranged father because I thought it was important. I think maturity has a lot to do with it. Yeah, and then also, how much has your brain been pickled and what kind of truth or lies by the ex? You know, this girl is on a platform, I won't mention which, but she's a 19-year-old girl. You're not respecting my boundaries. Like, okay. Tell me you've been brainwashed to say certain things. I don't know if my old man came back and said, hey, Bobby, where the hell are you? Because I would even think at about the age of 19, I'm like, okay, there's two sides to every story by now. All right, that's it. Okay, questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. Link below is, I don't know, something I link to. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.